One thing that I'm finally starting to understand is that the root cause of the suffering that we go through, the pain that we go through, and the worry and misery is attachment. I'm learning that when I attach to people, to places that I've been, to concepts of myself or others, I am surrendering my power and I'm not allowing myself to connect with God, because God is constantly trying to remind us that we're on a temporary journey here on this earth, that we're learning temporary lessons, and these things should be the focus. But the focus is often on these attachments: how much money you have, how do you look, how does your body look, how many friends do you have, where are you traveling to, what major do you have, what career are you going into. These attachments, these things, these concepts that we have mentally, we become attached and identify with these things instead of identifying with anything that's spiritual truth for ourselves. And you may be wondering, okay, so what is attachment? Attachment, in my viewpoint, attachment is a desire, something that you really want that turns into a craving or almost an obsession, and that you need to hold on to it no matter what. And then when that happens, the craving turns into ownership. You think that you own this thing that you have, and then you take ownership over it. So, for example, you may meet somebody romantically that you really, really like, but you start to take ownership over them, and you're always asking where they're at and what they're doing, and you're making sure they're not going to cheat on you, and you're doing this and doing that. It's valid to not want people to disrespect you, but you can't live your life and be claiming ownership over somebody else's life and how they live. Another example could be how you'll see billionaires. Billionaires have everything. They can buy anything. They can be anywhere. They can be with anybody. They can damn near do anything that they want. But for some reason, they're so attracted and have this attachment to power. It seems like no matter how many countries they may, take over, or how many people they sway in their direction, how many buildings they buy, how many cars they buy, how many things that they have in their possession, it seems like they always want more power. And that in itself is an attachment. And the problem with that attachment that is a craving is that you keep having more and more of it, but it never satisfies you. You see the richest people that are unhappy because it doesn't all satisfy you, because having material things doesn't mean you'll be spiritually fulfilled and satisfied and successful on a spiritual level. And you'll see TikTokers, you'll see people that are influential crying about things that they don't have in their Tesla in LA, which is the most expensive place in this country. And I'm not saying that you can't desire more, but the craving, the way that you think that your life should be a certain way, that you should have certain things, people should respond in a certain way, are attachments. And when you decide to detach from those ideas, those concepts, you're free. You're free to be whoever you want to be. You don't have to be a certain person. Other people don't have to be certain people for you all the time. If someone's not for you, you just allow yourself to remove yourself from their presence. You'll first explain to them what your needs are, but if they're not gonna meet you where you are with those needs, you don't have to be in my life, and that's okay. The art of detachment, and it's really the art of non-attachment, because when it comes to detachment, that means that I'm holding on to something, but I want to let go. But when it comes to non-attachment, that means that my hands are open, and they're open to receive what God or the universe has for me. And when something decides to come into my life, I'm going to maintain it. I'm going to hold on to it. But at the same time, I'm not going to grip it. I'm not going to think that I own this thing and I will have this thing forever, because you're going to die one day and you don't know when you're going to die. So you want to make sure that you appreciate what this thing does and what it's doing in your life and cherish it. But you don't want to overly identify with this thing to the point where you imprison this thing. So many times relationships or jobs can feel like a prison because one person is trying to control and dominate another person. And that in itself is an attachment. I want you to remain attached to me, and I am attached to you, and I want you to do this thing for me. This is why so many artists will go into a label, into the industry, and sign a contract, because they're not able to detach. They're not able to just enjoy making the music. No, they have to attach to charting, to making album sales, to people looking at them and people seeing them a certain type of way. That's what leads to dissatisfaction. But when you practice the non-attachment, like, you know what, no, I'm going to focus on the performance instead of the results. I'm going to focus on the art. I'm going to focus on what really matters to me. And I'm not going to focus on how people receive this or how I think they're receiving it. You detach from those thoughts and allow yourself to exist. It's the ego in you that's telling you that I deserve these things and I own these things, and everything in my life I own, and a person I'm with, I should own them. And the career that I have, I deserve this exact career and it must look this certain type of way. You're taking ownership over thoughts like, a lot of people have told me that I'm not good enough. So I really attach to that thought that I'm not good enough, and I'm going to hold on to that. But that's not what life is about. The spirit is telling you to be free and be able to experience life and be present day by day and experience the goodness of your desires. But your ego is telling you to hold on to things because you're going to lose it, and keep craving it because you're going to lose it one day. So crave it, and then get it again, and then get another thing, and then get another thing, and get another thing, and just try to accumulate as much as you can. Okay. Because you never know when it's going to leave. So just hold on to it anyways. But no, spirit is teaching us to learn our lessons, our spiritual life lessons, and be able to have the desires. If I want to be a dancer, I'm going to be a dancer. If I want to be a singer, I'm going to be a singer. And be able to fully express your desire, which comes from your spirit. Express your desire of what you want to do, but at the same time, don't allow the mind to take over and have ownership over this. If you get fired from this position, don't take ownership over the thought that you should be there and this is how life should be. Maybe the universe, maybe God is shifting you into a better career. Don't take ownership over this relationship and think I deserve this and I crave this one person. You don't know if God or the universe is going to shift you to a better person. Don't take ownership over these things. Just be able to cherish them in the moment. I believe detachment is so deep because when you detach and you allow yourself to not be grounded, you're almost like a stick that's passing through in the river. The stick is able to follow the current of the river and just flow. And that represents you in life without attachments. But when you have attachments, they ground you. And when you're grounded, you're like a boulder that is at the pit of the ocean. You're something that is like heavy. And you're not able to go with the flow of the river or the ocean or whatever. You're sinking to the bottom and you're grounded and you have no movement. And as we know, life is all about movement. It's all about change and transition. But you're not able to transition to change because you're grounded here. And this is the concept that's in Hinduism and Buddhism, is because when you attach and when your ego takes over, you're grounded, which means you're going to reincarnate and reincarnate and reincarnate. But when you decide to detach, meaning you care about things, but you're not craving things and thinking that you own them, then you're able to just flow. And when you flow, you're lighter. And when you're lighter, that's when you really connect to God. It's like the birds. You don't have to teach a bird how to fly. It naturally has a desire and a natural instinct to just fly. And at the same time, the birds aren't actively talking to each other on which way they should move. Have you ever seen birds in the sky and they're just so synchronized and they're able to just fly left and right? They're not even talking to each other. It's like they're automatically doing it with each other. And in a sense, they're not attached. They're in that flow state. And I think that's what the universe and what God is constantly trying to get us to do, is just be in the flow state. Just flow. But you cannot flow if you are attached. The ideas can't come in. The creativity can't come in. The people can't come in because you're so busy being attached to things that don't matter. Okay? So the only thing that you can be grounded in and the only thing you should be centered in is yourself, your spirit, and what desires are coming forth. And just be grounded in that. And allow yourself to play in those ideas, but don't become attached to any person that you become or any people that you come across. Just allow yourself to live your life with your hands open. and be like, I receive whatever God wants me to receive, but I know this is a gift and I'm not going to strangle and grip onto this like this is the only thing God will ever give me in my life. Don't have that life mindset that this is the only thing I'm ever going to have. You have to be able to have your hands open like, okay, if this thing wants to fall out of my life, I'm going to allow it to fall out of my life. But I know that something else can come into my hands. Something better can come into my hands. And I have the abundance mindset that no matter what, something better will come in anyways, and I will always be satiated. And that's how you have real satisfaction, is when you allow the universe to meet you where you're at with your desires and satisfy you and give you that feeling. Because satisfaction is a feeling, and it's a spiritual state, in my opinion. And I believe it's naturally caused by being in connection with God in the universe, truly. But you can only be that way if you're not attached to material things. And that's the thing that social media will trick you into doing and becoming. Lastly, I believe that the only reason that we get into this state of attachment is out of lack and fear. You have to feel like you're going to get better in order to cherish what you have and be able to let it go when the time is right. Because as we know, everything has a season and things do not bloom out of season. So we're always going to get what we need in the right season. And we have to make sure we're in alignment to receive it when it is the right time. So the reason why we attach is just because we fear. We fear, and we have this like deep inner vacancy inside of us, and we think that it has to be filled with more. We always need more. And when we have more, we need to hold on to that. And it's like, this is accumulation. But it's not accumulation of the right things. You can buy all the things that you want, have all the things that you want materially, and still never have spiritual success. Spiritual wealth and physical wealth are two different things. And to live the most optimal life, you want to have spiritual and physical wealth. I believe in being a rich person. I want to be a rich guy. But I also believe in being rich spiritually, meaning that I'm satisfied in my life. Like, I'm happy to be here. I'm content with myself, and like I'm grounded, and I feel this connection to the universe, to God. I feel like I'm something supporting me, something's powering me up and giving me the energy to speak and to create. You want to be connected to your source. Otherwise, you're going to feel and experience that vacancy inside of you. All in all, do your best to practice this concept of non-attachment or detachment, and allow yourself to just let things flow. If someone wants to leave your life, just let them leave. And if you really try hard for this position and you didn't get it, allow yourself to feel disappointed. Allow yourself to feel the negative emotion, but allow yourself to eventually let that go. Don't hold on to that emotion forever. Allow yourself to just let everything flow in life. And you'll notice you'll feel more satisfied every step of the way. And yeah, I hope you guys really liked this video. I hope it was able to, help you be in a more flow state within your life. And I will see you guys in my next video. See you later.